So we're back with another Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 video. This is my tier list on how good I think every character is. I'm not going to go through every single character and give my thoughts. If you think I misplaced a specific character, you can let me know in the comments, and I'll try and give you why I put them there. But I am going to go over characters that I feel do need explaining. Two things you should note before taking anything to heart. This is a console tier list. I mainly play on console. That's the one I got max ranked on. I have played a little bit of PC, but I'm mainly taking into account console. The second thing is I have gotten to max rank. I have played every character enough to get them to max rank, so I have a good feeling of every character in the game. Now with that being said, let's scroll through these. I feel like the top row is fairly obvious. I don't think any characters in the top row are really disputable. Toxic Brain's at the bottom mainly because when he's out of his Toxic Overload mode, he's not very good. His punches are garbage. But in Toxic Overload, he's the best character in the game, so it kind of evens out. That's why I have him at the bottom of the broken tier. Regfoot Soldier might sit wrong with some people, but I feel like he's just way too consistent to be anywhere else. Really good tier. Torchwood, some people might think I put him a bit low, some people might think I put him a bit high. I think he's really good, but he's not broken, mainly due to the fact of he is thick. The second you show your face, you are being bummed by 10 people, and it is happening no matter what. If you're not being bummed by 10 people, he is in the broken tier, but he's not that good to where he's broken. I think he's really strong and his abilities are too good, but he's not broken. Mystic Flower, I know a lot of people that think Mystic Flower is one of the worst characters in the game, and you are wrong. This is the only character in the tier list where I'm not budging. Okay, there's one more, but Mystic Flower is amazing, especially since she can heal herself and deal massive damage. She is the highest DPS out of any of the Sunflowers. If you think Stuffy Flower is better than Mystic Flower, you are wrong. I would love to argue with you in the not argue, but I like a good debate, so I mean, hit me with that. Iron Citron not being in the broken tier might sit wrong with some people. I think Iron Citron hits like a wet noodle out of his legendary mode. He can hit 50, but you have to be in colonoscopy range to hit 50. He's still probably the best Citron, but you know, his weapon functions pretty much the same as Captain Squawk's, and people think Captain Squawk is the worst pirate, so I mean, the only reason he's as high is his legendary mode and his health, but outside of that, he's just a worse Captain Squawk in my opinion. The good tier. You might feel that Necro's should be higher. I think Necro's hits like a wet noodle and is much more team reliant than the other roses. This is just in my experience. You need to jinx somebody, and sometimes charging up that shot, you just don't have time for it and you just die, where other roses can just start shooting and they're already dealing consistent damage and you don't need to jinx. Her gimmick is very good, but it's not very good in every situation like you need to be if you're in the really good or higher. Let's talk about Metal Petal. Metal Petal, I think, is one of the best Sunflowers. If you give a Sunflower hitting 10 damage per bullet, 160 health, and she can heal herself, that's insane. You might not like to play her because of her speed, which is fair enough, I'll give you that, but you cannot deny that she hits really good damage and has a very good gimmick. She's the only armor variant besides Iron Citron that is good, and I will stand by that. Let's move on to the average tier. Mob Cob below Barbecue Corn. The thing is, you have to be playing Barbecue Corn right. Barbecue Corn is the only way you can play him now is like a mid-range to long-ranged character. He's hitting really good damage at long range, 4 per bullet, and he has a really fast fire rate. Mob Cob just hits bad damage at all ranges. So it's either you take good damage at mid to long range or crap damage overall. And me, I can't stand Mob Cob. Now we'll move on to the okay tier. These characters are, they're okay. They can function. They're not unplayable, but they're just okay. Let's talk about Cosmic Brains. I don't think he's the worst superhero. I think he's the second worst. I don't think he's anything special. He's not bad. He's not a bad character by any means. I've seen worse. Also, Citron. Citron, I believe if the third charge up close does 90 damage, if I'm remembering correctly, which I could be wrong. He does really good damage up close. I think people just don't know how to use him, genuinely. His gun is kind of awkward sometimes, to be fair, but I think he's quite underrated. In the meh tier, we have Electro Brains. I think Electro Brains is absolute garbage. His punches are awful. They barely deal any damage. His beam is not that good. He just doesn't really have anything going for him. Hot Rod in meh. I don't think any of the chompers can be above average, and that's the very best. I think most chompers are just bad, all of them. If you aren't Twilight or Unicorn, you're meh. Hot Rod is the best out of the regular chompers, I feel. When you're not taking into account Twilight or Unicorn, Hot Rod is probably the best, and I think he's very fun, but yeah. Chemist at the bottom of meh. I have a video going on about Chemist and how I feel he's very flawed just in his design. He has the lowest DPS out of all the scientists. Zoologist out DPSs him. That immediately makes Zoologist automatically better than Chemist. There's no reason to play Chemist without taking into account Zoologist. You could say that you don't have to aim with Chemist. It's just easy. Yeah, it's easy, but that's just you being bad. That's not the character being good. That's you not being able to aim. You can play any other scientist, and if you can aim, they're doing more damage no matter what. He is the bottom of the barrel. And again, feel free to tell me why I'm wrong, but I strongly feel that I am not. And the worst character in the game, that award goes to Chomp Thing. If you think Armor Chomper is worse, no. You are playing Chomper wrong if you think Armor Chomper is worse. Chompers are meant to be played like a stealth character. So most of the time, if you play Chomper how I play him, you're getting kills either you're engaging, so you automatically have an advantage, or you're swallowing somebody when they don't even know you're there. Then Chomp Thing's gimmick is absolutely useless. You're just a Chomper with less health. I think it's 50 less health. Armor Chomper is much slower, but he hits like a truck. He is extremely hard to kill. Like, he has something going for him. Chomp Thing has nothing. The only thing he has going for him is when you're outside of a fight. That's the only thing he's good for, is when you're recovering. Like, I mean, I guess that's okay, but you're gonna have a harder time fighting in the first place. Both characters are awful, and they're the two worst characters in the game. But Chomp Thing, freaking, he could have not been added, and nobody would have complained. We're missing out. If they got rid of Armor Chomper, man, riots would start. But yeah, that's my tier list. Let me know what I did wrong. If you want to have an actual, like, good conversation in the comment section, I'm all for it. I love talking about balancing, especially if it's civil and we're going back and forth. That's amazing. I would love to hear what you have to say in the comments, and maybe you could even change my mind. I made this tier list live on my Discord. I made it with people. I hosted an event. So I also got 7 other opinions on this tier list, I believe. So I'm not the only one that feels this way on certain characters, and I did take into account what other people said, and that's mainly why some characters are a bit higher, a bit lower than I thought they would be. But yeah, that's about it. I will see you when I see you.